You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. I'm glad to be here with you. Thankful that you are with us. It is January the 23rd. It is Tuesday, 2024. Thanks for being with us, everyone. We really appreciate it. And yeah, it's going to be a great show this morning. As usual, let's talk about local news headlines, a little bit of sports, some weather, and a little bit of deep dive into a little bit into our health and what's been happening over the last 4 years, and some new findings or whatever that could influence how we thought of the last 4 years and how we might think of going forward. Anyways, I had a video to play this morning, but between yesterday and today, it's been taken down. So interesting. And then when I went to look for it, all that YouTube had was the headlines of the opposite of what this particular expert was sharing. All I could find on YouTube was, "This expert's wrong. We're going to tell you why." So they just censor everything these days. And I guess I could have looked for it on Rumble, which I didn't have enough time, but maybe I'll have it for another show, or if I can find it somehow today, we'll have that. But that's the world we live in. Welcome to it. You're not allowed to listen to certain information if some of the big tech giants don't think they feel you should see or hear it, right? You're not mature enough to hear certain information. They need to make sure you're safe from information. And they must have superior knowledge and superior human instincts on what's true and what's not, right? Because they are the arbiters. They are the gatekeepers of truth. And they say, well, this is not our truth, so we're not going to allow people to hear it even, right? Because dangerous. Information is dangerous. Words are dangerous today. Interesting, right? But it is what it is. And it's the world we live in. So trying to make sense of it is what we do each and every morning here on Sudbury News Talk. Local, regional, provincial, national, international. We'll talk about it here. Try and make sense of things. We'll do the same thing this morning. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM, cklu.ca. Just click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can download it and take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow. Mainly comment though, because that's the reason for this show. It's a conversation on your station where we'll basically read your comments for those on the radio and try and get them up on the screen for those who are watching either live or on live or watching afterwards. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for being with us. We really appreciate you. Thanks for those that have supported the show recently. We really appreciate you. You know who you are. We really appreciate that. And if you feel there are expenses to the show, right? There's no money being made on the show. And so it really does help a lot. It's probably about $450 a month that goes into the show. Again, it's not extremely a large amount, but it's just basically coming out of pocket. So if you do feel that it's you're able to, and you could e-transfer us at sudburynews@gmail.com. So thank you for that. And if you want to support our local radio station, CKLU, you go to cklu.ca, and there's many ways that you could support us. You just click on whatever merchandise, and you can order a great t-shirt or a mug or something, or just make a monetary donation, Or if you want to go even further, you can donate your time with a show, something that you're passionate about, something that you're knowledgeable about. You email gm@cklu.ca with your idea, and Rob will get back to you rather quickly and set up a time to get together and discuss your idea. And if you're good with technical things, we could use your help too. There's all kinds of ways we can serve at the radio station, and it's service to our community is what it is. So again, thanks for being on. We'll dive right in. We're going to begin with a little bit of weather today and some sports, and then local news headlines and our little deep dive into why we should be looking after our health, why we are the people that should be the most concerned with our health and not putting it in other people's hands. Okay, so we'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. And Sudbury Weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. -8 currently. Feels like -16. There's light snow out there. Today, cloudy, 30% chance of flurries early in the morning. The -4 will be your high. The wind chill will feel like -20 this morning, and then -8 this afternoon. Tonight, cloudy, 30% chance of flurries late this evening. Now, here's the thing. Risk of freezing drizzle overnight. So I had a dream last night, come to mention it, where it was raining again, and we're like, oh, all this snow. And it started going down again, just like we previously experienced earlier in the winter. Anyways, so there's risk of freezing drizzle overnight, and the temperature is rising to -5 by the morning, and the wind chill will be -13 in the morning. But tomorrow, cloudy, 30% chance of flurries, a risk of freezing drizzle still, a high of 0, wind chill of -11 in the morning. So look at your the week coming up here. Chance of flurries, 0, 30% chance of flurries and maybe freezing drizzle tomorrow. Periods of rain or snow on Thursday, high of +2, +1 on Friday. Periods of chance of flurries or rain showers. And then -1 and cloudy on Saturday, -5 and cloudy on Sunday, and -4 and cloudy on Monday. And I can't find any recent satellite images over Northern Ontario. The latest one was yesterday, so it's lots of clouds. Always lots of clouds, so there you go. If for those listening on the radio, those watching, it's not much help either. So it's just a bunch of clouds doing different things. And that's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with a little bit of sports, news headlines, your comments, and more when we come back right after this. Stay tuned. Okay, and Sudbury Sports brought to you by sudburysports.ca. Glad to be bringing you the sports. It aggregates on our sudbury.news website. That's where all the local news headlines come in, and into one convenient location, because now Facebook isn't sharing it anymore, or Google isn't doing the greatest job either, because they just moderate whose news gets seen, you know what I mean? And so one place, Sudbury.com, CTV Northern Ontario, Sudbury Star, and CBC Sudbury, all in one location on Sudbury.news. And if you click on the sports tab, you get the same thing, but sports, local sports. Sudbury 5 will be in action in Windsor on Friday night. So that's news. Friday, January 26th. I'm pretty sure that's when they are going to be, because they were in Sudbury. I'm just trying to see here on their website. I can't tell where it is. So I'm looking at the schedule. It's not the easiest thing to navigate just to know when they're playing and where they're playing. But anyways, the 5.ca. Head there for the latest 5 games. They're in action this Friday against the Windsor Express. And the Sudbury Wolves will head to North Bay on, looks like, let's see here, on Thursday. And then back in town here on Friday. So yeah, the 5 will be in Windsor because the Sudbury Wolves will be at the Sudbury Arena on Friday with their rematch of the North Bay game, which they played the night before on Thursday. So that's going to be really interesting. They're neck and neck in the standings in the Central Division. And it's basically an 8-point series, meaning a win for one of the teams is also a 2-point loss for the other one. So each game is like 4 points at stake. So, and there's 2 games back to back. If Sudbury was to come out victorious in these games, you know what I mean? They'll get a little breathing room against North Bay, and the opposite's true. And if they each win a game, well, they're back where they started. So very important games for the Sudbury Wolves. Make sure to get out and support them. You'll catch the games right here on CKLU 96.7 FM if you're not able to go. And if you want to make the trip to North Bay to support them Thursday night, you can make that trek. But they're right here in Sudbury on Friday night. That's your Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and much more right after this. Okay, thanks for sticking around, everyone. Looks like we got a nice little bunch here on online on Facebook. I'm not sure what's going on with our website here. There we go. Finally, it came in, and we're grateful for that. Let's see who's on so far. We'll just do a couple of shout-outs and get started this morning. First to the party is Denise on YouTube. And blessings from Espanola, for sure. Thank you for that, Denise. And good morning from Barry. That is Monique. Sorry, not Monique. Marianne. And liked and shared as usual. I was looking ahead at Monique here already. Good morning, Monique. Thanks for being with us. And thanks for the emoji. Very positive for the morning. Sunshine emoji. Judy, good morning. Thanks for being with us. Belinda, positive saying of the day. Good morning. The peace is not just the absence of war, or true peace is not just absence of war. It is the presence of justice. Now is the time for justice. And that, you know what? Justice really does keep us in a peaceful state. There's no doubt about it. When you know and you feel confident that there's justice, true justice there, and someone upholding it, fair, honest justice, as much as we can have in this world. It's not a perfect world, right? So you're not going to have perfect justice. If you have as close to it as possible, it definitely keeps the peace. There's no doubt about it. Good morning, Vin. Thanks for being with us this morning. Also, Maurice, good morning. With the sunshine or the smiley emojis, love them. Really help out a lot, especially when there's lots of clouds and kind of gloomy time of year. Marianne says, when they take down, when they take it down fast. That's speaking of our video we were going to play today. It's a truth they don't want you to know, but what they don't realize is most already do or already know. Not sure about that. We had someone on yesterday, Jungle Jim, and we were talking about the clouds that form in the skies after jets go by with their long trails, that they keep in the sky. There's a lot of times they tic-tac-toe the sky or just straight lines everywhere. And then all of a sudden it's cloudy. And Jungle Jim yesterday said, "What are you talking about?" So not everybody is aware of their environment they live in or what's happening. And that's strange to me with that whole thing, with not seeing the formation of clouds these days and the lack of sunny days, pure, just unadulterated sunny days from morning till night. You remember them. You know they used to happen. It's not, science fiction. It used to happen. We used to have a string of them in a row even. We used to have maybe 3-5 days in a row where there wasn't a cloud in the sky. Why not today? What's happening? Why do jets all of a sudden make our skies cloudy each day? What's up with that? Someone shared a really good website about geoengineering, which is what they're doing. They're trying to keep the planet cooler due to climate change. So that's why we can't see the sun hardly anymore. But it is what it is. I guess they're really smart people that are keeping us safe and making sure that we live in a great world according to them. So we'll just have to take their word for it, I guess. I can't afford to get up there and have a big fan to blow it all away. If I did, I would. But anyways, Leon said, imagine the lives that we could have saved with $9.5 billion for overdose and homeless if Justin Trudeau had not given it to the Ukraine. Thanks for that. It's true. A lot of our money was given away and still is given away to other countries without us. That would be a vote. Like, okay, put it to Canada for a vote. Let's have a referendum. How much money should we spend to these different countries and stuff? And Canadians could chime in on it. And that's your money, right? But once you give it to them, they use it how they want. Good morning, AJ, all you Sudbury News critical thinkers. It's Jerome. Good morning, Jerome. Great emojis there. Liette, good morning from Collingwood. And John, good morning. I'm 20 years of age. Today, it's my birthday. Well, happy birthday, John. Thanks for being on with us. Much appreciated. And happy birthday. Marianne, happy birthday. Yes, I could probably see a lot of happy birthdays coming in here for sure. So Vince says, I post censored content often. That's why the WEF decided to make me number one priority of 2024. Really? Controlled information overtook the climate emergency because Albert Bourla will take care of the climate emergency in May of 2024 when the treaty becomes obligatory to free nations. Okay. So there's going to be a treaty signed in May that's going to make us obligated to follow. Now so Albert Bourla, if anyone wants to research any of that, that's what this show is all about, right? Now you can take the time to look into what Vin is saying and see if that is of interest to you and you want to look into that more. And these are things that affect us in our world, right? These treaties being signed, international treaties that affect us, and we need to know about them. And the news doesn't seem. Have you heard about that on CBC? Have you heard about that on CTV, Northern Ontario? No, we haven't. But you hear it here at least, and you can then take the time to go out and research that information. So can I knock on your station door and hand you cash? Anyone remember that stuff? Well, you could, actually. Yes, you could. And I'm sure Rob would be very gracious of you. You probably want to knock on the window while someone's in the middle of their show and then wait for them to come to the door. There's not someone at the radio station all the time. But yeah, I'm sure that could be. If you emailed Rob at gm@cklu.ca and you said, hey, I got some cash, how can I get it to you? They would definitely figure a way out. As would I, as we've already discussed, right? Be great to get together sometime just to go out for, I say a coffee, even though I don't drink coffee. Going out for a coffee is meaning go out and chat somewhere at a coffee shop, right? So yeah, I'm open to that for sure. So Denise, I can't post that you're here on YouTube on your Facebook page. Well, I don't know. I don't know why I can't post that you're here on YouTube on your Facebook page. Yeah, maybe you can, maybe I have it set so people can't post on my Facebook page if that's what you're trying to do. Because if I did, then people would be just sharing all kinds of stuff and I'd always be kind of monitoring it. So it's probably just a setting. Cash is king. That's Monique. Marianne, yes, exactly. Use it or lose it for sure. Harder and harder these days, however. And wow, the other is so convenient. And it's too bad that they give us convenience in terms of losing your autonomy. You know what I mean? Like, why can't we have convenience and still retain an autonomy and be, have our, not everything known by everybody, or somebody at least tracking everything. Why can't we have both, the best of both worlds? Doppler has a great satellite image and are regularly updated. Oh, interesting. Have to look into that too. And good morning, dear friends, from Denise. Welcome aboard. You messaged a few people. Well, thank you very much, Denise. Much appreciated. Good morning, Debbie. Thanks for being on. Something I've noticed when I go back sometimes to look at the comments on the show, some people are saying good morning like after the show. And I'm wondering, are they saying it, but I'm missing it, or it's not coming through? So I hope, and I apologize for anyone that I don't get a chance to say good morning to. It's just something. I know Natalie Labby says it reminds her of Romper Room back in the day where they're seeing all the different children out there or whatever, but interesting. Okay, so in regards to justice, look up Kevin Ship and Uranium 1 Canada. So Kevin Ship and Uranium 1 Canada. That's interesting. So again, these are really, really great things for people that are interested in, taking the conversation further, just understanding the world you live in and what's happening. It's really cool. This must be a record of no sunshine. You can tell the deep state likes to hide in the shadows. Okay, well, yeah, definitely just count the days of when you don't see one cloud in the sky, and then at the end of the year, how many days was that? Like a full day, not just a partial part of the day where you didn't see a cloud, but a full day from morning to night, no cloud in the sky. They used to happen. So count them. See how many you can come up with. True AJ, there are a few who are in a deep sleep, REM sleep for sure. Yeah, it's true. Like a lot of people are sleeping these days to just world current events, and they'll just take whatever little bit of news they hear and what people talk about around the water cooler, and that's their extent of what they know is going on around them in the world. It's unfortunate, and maybe they're scared, to know any more than that. Ignorance is bliss too, right? I can appreciate that, honestly. I don't say that condescendingly. I say that honestly. Sometimes I'm like, wow, I wish I didn't know a lot of things. It creates a little bit of stress. We had 5 minutes of sun yesterday. Well, that's good. 5 minutes. Chemical spraying documentation is easily obtainable, and it is. It's mainstream now. Just look up geoengineering. Geoengineering. And there was a wonderful website shared by somebody yesterday. I'll have to go back and grab that. It's everything about that on the site. It was shared in the video yesterday. So I forget who did it or whatever, but I got to go back and I'll share that for everyone if we haven't. I don't have it ready to go today. The latest number I heard of deaths in the past 4 years was 17 million. Wow. 225 million per person in Canada. I don't know if these might be different conversations going on now. I'm not sure. So we might have to just move along a little bit. So appreciate Brian being on this morning. Hang on to your hats. Good morning, Sudbury campers. Much appreciated. And we really appreciate everybody's comments. Keep them coming. Let's just dive right into a few local headlines today. And that way we'll get off to here's the WHO treaty Liette is talking about here. So make sure to read everyone's comments, because there's a lot of really great material here that people are sharing that you can inform yourself of different things going on in the world. Okay. Much appreciated. Keep them coming. Okay, so for people who plan to go far north this winter, you're kind of stuck. Northern Ontario's most southern ice road may not be open this winter. This is coming from Sudbury.news, but it's from CBC Sudbury. It's definitely winter in Northern Ontario, but winter road season has still not arrived. And on Lake Temagami, there are fears that for the first time ever, the ice road won't open at all this year. And you know what a lot of alarmists are saying right now when they hear that headline, that that's proof of climate change, and it very well could be. And one might ask themselves, okay, well, do we know what's causing it 100%? Many people out there will say, well, yes, we know what's causing it, and that's why we need to tax everybody as much as we can so we can prevent it, right? There are those who feel that. And then there's those who feel, well, if you look back tens of thousands of years ago, the Earth has gone through many cooling and warming periods. And so are we in a natural warming period, or is it a man-made warming period? And if it is man-made, how do we know it's not natural? First of all, we'd have to look at the data, and there's very little data in terms of, we just recently started, recording, day by day temperatures and things. So we can only go back so far. We know the Earth has gone through cooling and warming periods, however, in the past. We can tell that by when we excavate things and look at the layers and do digs. Archaeologists can tell we've gone through warming and cooling periods. When you find different fossils in the north, where it used to be tropical, that kind of tells you something. There weren't people then, though. So what caused that? So we want to know to what extent are people causing the temperature change, if anything? We don't know that right now. That is the question that's still unanswered. So I know there's a lot of people that want to just jump to the conclusion, this is a sign, and it's people. Get rid of people and we'll save the planet, right? That's what many people feel. The world's overpopulated, too many people, and we're warming the planet. So you have to kill off all the people. Well, you might not say kill them off. We just say population reduction, right? We have to figure out a way to control the population, how do you do that, right? No. There you go. So there'll be no ice road, more than likely, this year for the first time, as far as we can remember, on Lake Temagami. So all eyes are on the Bank of Canada this week for any hints of when it plans to cut interest rates. Remember, Chrystia Freeland came out and said, oh my goodness, the economy's so good and interest rates will be coming down and inflation's going down and everything is wonderful and fantabulous. And there's, lollipops and rainbows everywhere. And yet, the facts of the matter say we had a really bad December and inflation rose, despite what she was saying. And now the Bank of Canada is in the hot seat going, now what do we do? Do we increase interest rates more? Do we keep them the same, or do we lower them? So not an easy decision to make. We'll come back to that a little bit later today in a bit of a discussion on that. Good morning, Pam. Thanks for being with us. Too many people, however, too much consumption is a big problem. Oh, for sure. Yes, definitely. Well, I guess there's a lot more people here than we've ever known because the population is growing, but there's a lot of statistics out there. If you put every single person who ever lived on the earth, people, shoulder to shoulder, and you line them up, right? So there's a lot of people you're talking now. You took every person who ever lived on this earth and you line them up in rows, shoulder to shoulder, back to front. They would fit in Switzerland. So if you have a map in front of you, go to Switzerland, like look at Switzerland, and then that will give you a perspective of when people say the earth is overpopulated now, right? These are people living in large cities. It's really easy to think, oh my goodness, the world is way too populated. So you go to Toronto, I have no problem believing that. But then drive to Timmins from here and go, takes you a good 3.5 hours. Good 3.5 hours. Drive to Timmins. You got the watershed. You got one gas station and a little restaurant. And other than that, you don't see a house. You don't see a person. You don't see nada. Now, that's only to Timmins. Now, if you were to keep driving north from there, very sparsely populated. And if you ever drove across Canada, you then even see even more. Canada's got 40 million people now. There's cities with almost 40 million people. Well, there are cities with 40 million people in it, right? So if you took everyone who's ever lived, ever in the world, and you line them all up and you put them in one spot, they would fit in the country of Switzerland, which if you looked on a map, it's a kind of small country, right? So just different ways of looking at things, different perspective. Good morning, Claire. Thanks for being with us today. Okay, all that to say, I don't know what, but anyways, Bank of Canada are kind of at a crossroads here. Do they raise interest rates? Do they lower them? We don't know. Okay. See what else we got here. CTV Northern Ontario has a story here. Truck with $70,000 worth of pistachios inside of it stolen in Ontario. Anyways, if you want to check out that story, CTV Northern Ontario has that for you. That's a lot of pistachios, and they are pretty addictive, so I can see why someone probably wants $70,000 worth of them. Once you start, you can't stop. They're so good. Yeah, that's a story from yesterday, so we'll head to Sudbury.com. They have some really good stories this morning. Young Sudbury activist, a finalist for the $100,000 Lauren program. A Sudbury High School student who was in the news last year after he started a petition and led a protest against the Rainbow District School Board's decision to cancel a drag event at Llewellyn Park Secondary School, is the city's only 2024 finalist for the prestigious Lauren Scholarship. Ahmed Mohammed is one of 90 young people selected as finalists for the scholarship out of a pool of 5,200 applicants. He will travel to Toronto February 23rd to 25th to take part in interviews for the chance to be named one of this year's 36 Lauren Scholars. And we'll find out the results in March or April. The program's website said they are seeking 36 young people who most exceptionally demonstrate strength of character, dedication to service, and leadership potential. So, usable at 25 partner universities, the Lauren Award is valued at more than $100,000 over 4 years, including mentorship, funding for summer work experiences, and participation in extensive network of past and present scholars. Wow. So he's the only one from Sudbury who is nominated for this particular scholarship. And the reason why he was nominated is because he started a petition and led a protest against his school board because they made the decision to cancel a drag event at his school. And one of the reasons for the program, again, right? The reason why they pick people is they want people who exceptionally demonstrate strength of character, dedication to service, and leadership potential. So I don't know if it's me, but I would think if someone was to actually say the opposite to that and actually uphold their decision as a student, let's say a student was saying, I really don't feel we should have a drag event at our school. It probably would have took more character to do that than to make a petition, because I think most of the teachers would have been on board with this particular young person. Most of the students would have been on board with it. So it's kind of like just going with the masses and saying, yeah, that's what everyone probably wants anyways. Good morning, Louise. Thanks for being with us. So I'm kind of confused at that. Dedication to service. Okay. Serving. What's your definition of service? So I don't know if making a petition and protesting is that we need to have a drag show at our high school is service, but I guess. And leadership potential. There you go. So kind of there is some leadership in there. You have to take initiative. You got to get out there. The press was very all over it, so that wasn't too hard to get the press to cover that, right? They're very in favor of this individual. Again, so the character part is where I stand in question. It's just kind of going with the flow there. Most people were on board with that. But again, you don't want to be too critical. I just think it's kind of an interesting place we're at in our world where the only candidate from Sudbury who has these characteristics, who demonstrates strength of character, dedication to service, and leadership potential, is one individual. And the individual's claim to fame for this was that they made a petition and they protested not having a drag show at their high school. I don't know. Kind of interesting that that's where we're at in our society. Is it just me? Am I crazy? And again, nothing against this young man for their beliefs. Everyone needs their beliefs. And isn't it strange? He's the only one. There's no other young, I meet a lot of really cool young people these days. A lot of people harp on the young people, the young generation. There's a lot of cool young people these days. And they go through a lot more than I know I had to at their ages. And so kudos to them. But we couldn't find, that's just the one person. You know what I mean? Like, is that, again, okay, that's just me. So here we go again, the world we're living in, little bit of, local headline that kind of shows us where we're at. The Spot, funded through February thanks to anonymous donations. RESO Access Network, the organization behind The Spot, Sudbury's supervised consumption site, has announced funding has been extended through February thanks to an anonymous donation or anonymous donations from compassionate community members. A release from the organization states the funding extension comes at a quote-unquote pivotal time as Sudbury faces a, quote, unprecedented crisis of toxic, unregulated drugs. The city had been funding the site's operation since it opened in September of 2022, which was only meant to last until the province stepped up as a stopgap and ran, as the province stepped up to the plate. With the healthcare under provincial jurisdiction, municipal funding was intended to be a stopgap and run ran out on December 31st, 2023. The spot has an annual operating budget of approximately $1,374,000. The spot has an annual operating budget of approximately $1,374,000. The spot began pushing for the provincial funding they applied to for 2 years ago with greater urgency as it got closer to the end of the year, when Valley Base Metals made a $75,000 donation to keep the site open for the month of January. For more on that, you can read the full story, Sudbury.com. So that's a lot more money than I thought it would cost to keep the trailer operational for a year. $1,300,000, so for $1.4 million approximately. And I love all the approximate. How many people are they saving? What goes on there? There's a lot of, we think it's like this. There's no clear numbers, things like that. When you're spending approximately $1.4 million and people are giving you this money, there should be a lot of accountability on it. And what is this, to what end is this service offering the community? Right? So what's the end result? What's the goal? What are we doing here with the spot? Is this part of a bigger strategy somehow? So safe drugs. Okay. There's bad drugs out there. We all know that. We all know that. If you're addicted to it, it's a terrible time, right? To be addicted to a substance when there's harmful drugs of choice that you choose to take out there, and you're addicted and you're having a hard time coming off. That's the case. That's what's going on. So what do we do about that? Well, one person pipes up and said we could give them safe drugs. We could enable the addicts to have safe drugs so they don't take the harmful drugs. And another person goes, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. And then another person says, but what then? But then what do we do now? And then another person says, I don't know. Yeah, right? So another person could say, shouldn't we care about the person and try and get them off the harmful substances? And what makes a safe drug not harmful? I thought OxyContin was harmful, even if it's clean. Or fentanyl, even if it's clean, could be harmful. That's what I thought. Try to take some. See if it's harmless. See if it's harmless to you. Go on your drive to work, pop a fentanyl pill, and drive to work and go to work and function. And see if it's harmless. I beg to differ. I think it's also harmful, even if it's clean drugs. So, where are we at now then? We got this site, but what are we doing with the individuals? How are we caring for them? Like what do we have planned for them? Like what's the end goal for individuals who are on, and it's sad. And we all know it's not that far from home, this subject, right? So we know people who struggle with these things. So what do we want for them? Do we want them to continue to take drugs the rest of their lives? That's the end goal we want. And if not, then what are we doing to prevent that scenario? It looks like the only action we're taking is, we're going to keep them addicted for the rest of their lives, as long as they'll just have to get off it themselves somehow. They'll just have to find some way. Just sitting on the street somewhere, experiencing homelessness, and go, okay, I'm done. Because who's helping them get off? I'd like to see $1.4 million go to pay for recovered addicts, or recovering, took him in the city, pay for their hotels, pay for an apartment, pay for, get them all across. Go put out an ad for 30 recovered addicts who know what it's like to come into the city and do outreach and go out and say, hey, you want to keep doing this stuff? You like where you're at? And then give them the resources to help these individuals. Give them a place, give them a spot to go to with them, to sit down and have conversations and mentor them and get them off these harmful, safe drugs, because they still are harmful, right? And then those people who were helped by these people who've already been through it, and they were helped themselves, the people that then come off it in our city go, wow, I can't believe I'm a human being again, not addicted. I can contribute. I can do, you know what I want to do? I want to go out and help other people that were suffering, just like I was recently. And with that kind of passion too, because they're like, oh my, I just wish my fellow people that I was with on the street could feel like I feel now. And they help me in situations, and I know them, and I know if they knew there was a way out, they'd want to get out of this. And they would go out there and they would, with vigor and passion, go out and talk to people on their level, not a doctor or a nurse, someone who's never been through it themselves, trying to speak for them. They'd go out there and they'd say, hey, Jim, Sarah, there's a way out of this. Come here, come to the spot that's meant to show you that you can do more than what you're doing now, and get off this stuff. And there's a clear path that they can show them, Where's the funding for that? Probably be a lot of anonymous donors that would donate to that kind of thing. I can tell you that much right now, And then look at how much safer your streets would be. Look, think of the spin-off from that, Instead of having to build the housing for people and do everything for people all the time, because you're just enabling them all the time, they would go out and they build their own friggin' place. They'd be like, I remember knowing how to build something before I got on this crap. I'll go out and build my own place. I'll build a place for my friends too, and I'll help some more people, and they'll contribute to the city. You don't have to. Once you teach someone they can do it themselves, you stand back and let them go, because they will. I think people forget how powerful we are when you give us the tools we need to do our thing as human beings, right? So again, I'm not harping on this place. I'm not saying close it down. It's hell on earth. It's the devil. I'm just saying, what's the end goal with this place? And that's all anyone talks about, keeping the place open, the spot. Oh, and they give these talking points, and there are millions of dollars going to it and whatever. For what? For what? So we got to come up with something that's the end goal is having people return to being human if they were once, or being human for the first time if they never had a chance to be human, to experience what it can be to be off these things and to be self-reliant, to take pride in themselves and in their own things that they do themselves. Speaking of someone who comes from experience, that's what I can say. That's has been my lived experience, right? How can I say what I just said? Because I've been through it. That's why. That's how. And I received help. I received real help from real people who cared, and someone else higher than me that helped me. Right? We have that ability to look out of ourselves too and ask for help. Like the 12-step program. I never went through that myself, but I'm a believer in it, because if I were to make a program based on what I experienced myself, I would make that program for people as a really good way to come out of addiction. Anyways, that's all the time we got for today. I was going to share a video or two. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Maybe I'll find the video that was taken down and we'll actually share it. And we'll have the show that we're supposed to be today tomorrow. That's the great thing about technology and being the bosses of ourselves, right? Being in control of things. Something happens, you're throwing some lemons, you can make lemonade out of it. You can roll with the punches. So thanks everyone for watching, listening, being with us today, commenting. I do my best to get everyone's comments up on the screen. So many great things said by all the contributors to this show all the time. So make sure to read the comments. If there's anything that someone said that you're curious about, take the time and look into it and think for yourself and don't let others do it for you. It's your responsibility, actually, to think for yourself and be yourself and then help others to do the same. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Have a wonderful, extraordinary Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Same time, same place, same platforms, same station. Thanks, everyone. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM and CKLU.ca. Have a wonderful one, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.